I sold the boat my brother-in-law keeps borrowing. The boat was my dad's. He bought it the year before he got sick, a used 19-foot fishing boat he'd wanted his whole life. He took me out on it maybe 6 times before he passed. So yeah, it meant something. When he died, he left it to me, not to my wife, not to the family. To me. My brother-in-law Dale started asking to borrow it that first summer. His kids wanted a tube, he said, and it'd be a shame to let it sit. I said okay. He was family, and honestly I felt kind of good sharing something my dad loved. That was 3 years ago. Since then, I don't think I've been on that boat more than twice. Dale had a way of asking that wasn't really asking. He'd text my wife Megan instead of me. Hey, grabbing the boat Saturday, cool? And she'd say sure before I even saw the message. When I brought it up, she said, it's just sitting there, Chris. Why are you being weird about it? So I stopped saying no. It was easier. Then the little stuff started. He'd bring it back with a gas tank empty. Fine, whatever. Then there was a scrape down the port side he swore was already there. It wasn't. Then last August, he ran it aground on a sandbar and cracked the lower unit. Repair was $1,900. He said he'd cover it. He never did. When I asked, he laughed and said, come on, man, it's an old boat. Stuff happens. I paid for it myself. I didn't tell Megan how much because I knew what she'd say. This spring, Dale texted me directly for once. Taking the boat to the lake house Memorial weekend. Might keep it up there a few weeks, easier than hauling it back and forth. Like it was his. Like he was doing me a favor storing it. I called Megan at work and read it to her. She sighed. Just let him. It's not a big deal. He does so much for us. Name one thing he's done for us, I said. She couldn't. She got quiet, then said, you know how my family is. If you say no, it becomes this whole thing at every holiday. Please don't make it a whole thing. That's when I understood. It was never about the boat sitting unused. It was that I was supposed to eat it so she didn't have to deal with her family. I didn't argue. I said okay, and she relaxed, thinking she'd won. That Saturday, I posted the boat online. I priced it fair, took the trailer in the same listing. A retired guy from 2 towns over came and looked at it Sunday morning. He ran his hand along the rail the way my dad used to, and I knew it was fine. He paid cash. I watched him tow it down the driveway, and I felt lighter than I had in 3 years. I didn't tell anyone. Memorial weekend, Dale pulled into our driveway with his truck to grab it. I heard him out there, then his boots on the porch. He didn't knock. He just opened the door. Where's the boat? The spot's empty. I sold it, I said. He laughed, waiting for the punchline. When I didn't give him one, his face changed. You what? You sold the boat? That was for the family, man. That was your dad's. It was mine, I said. He left it to me. Megan came in from the kitchen. Chris, what did you do? I sold it Sunday. Guy paid cash. It's gone. Dale's voice went up. You had no right. I had plans. I told the kids. You can't just... He stopped, then said the thing that told me everything. Do you know how much I could have gotten for that thing? I looked at him. Gotten for it? It's not yours to sell. He caught himself, but too late. Megan looked at him, then at me, and I watched her do the math I'd already done. The empty gas tanks. The lake house storage. The repair he never paid for. You were going to sell my dad's boat, I said. Not a question. Dale went red and started backpedaling, saying I twisted his words, that I always made him the villain. Megan wasn't listening to him anymore. Get out of my house, I said. Chris, Megan started. Not you, I said. Him. Dale grabbed his keys off the counter, the ones he'd set down like he lived here, and slammed the door hard enough to rattle the windows. His truck peeled out of the driveway with the empty trailer bouncing behind it. Megan sat down at the table. He was really going to sell it, she said, more to herself than me. Yeah, I said. He was. She hasn't answered a single one of her brother's calls in 9 days.